Joining us right now on the Harbor One hotline, I think from Los Angeles, it is Celtics owner Wyc Grousbeck. Wyc, good morning.
Yo, man, how you doing?
How are you?
I'm. It is a little dark and early out here in LA, but glad to be talking to you. Thanks.
Yeah, glad that you're joining us this morning. And we've been talking a lot about the Celtics of late. I'm wondering, from your guys' perspective, any concern at all about the kind of the struggles that this team has had a little bit since the All-Star break?
Yeah, I think we're 5-5 in our last 10, and that's not the way. That's not what put us earlier at the top of the league. So definitely a concern. And Rob has been out, so that is also with his history of being available and then not available. There's definitely, it's not the same vibe as if we won 10 or 12 games in a row or something. So we definitely feel, I think the guys themselves feel we've got this. We're going to, build into April and then start playing some playoff games. I think it can make some sense to, that you can have ups and downs, but I'd like to see us beat Portland tonight.
Yeah. Wiggy says frequently that he doesn't feel like the regular season ends up, and seeding essentially ends up being that important. Do you agree?
Yeah, we're 2 games back behind the Bucks, and that's the top 2 records in the league. And so I'd like to stay at least there, if not, try to go catch those guys. So I like the home court. I like having the first game and potentially Game 7 on, in the Garden. And we'll have that against most teams we might face, except not the Bucks. But if we have to go beat them in Milwaukee, I guess we'll have to try to go do that.
Wyc, one of the things that we talked about on the show, and I always feel like I'm always defending Jayson Tatum because I feel like as a superstar in this league, he gets criticized way more than some of the other superstars in the league, like guys like Nikola Jokic or Joel Embiid, who haven't even taken a team to a championship. Do you feel like watching him, do you feel like he gets the same type of respect, or is he more disrespected because of his NBA championship performance last year?
Wow. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess my first thought was I think Jayson Tatum is phenomenal, and he's a great person and a great teammate, and there's so many things he brings. His approach to the game, I've seen 20 years of guys, wearing the green and white, and I think he's right up there near the top. He's a person you would want to have on your team. Having said that, I mean, he's had, I don't know how many conference finals, maybe 4 of them, and a finals appearance. I think he's put us on his shoulders as much as he can. So anyway, I think his resume is great. I think we all got disorganized and tired. I guess me too. But on the court, we looked like we just kind of fell apart a bit last year. We all saw it, and we also lost to a really good team. But I wouldn't put it on Jayson. I'd put anyway. It's this year, so we're gonna. We've got the pieces here to contend, and we're gonna go do our best. But I'm glad he's here. I hope he's here his whole career.
Yeah.
Wyc, it's always interesting when Wiggy brings up Jayson. I always bring up Jaylen, and recently he's just been having really good games, stepping up when he needs to. Do you think that fan-wise or elsewhere in the league, he gets the respect that he deserves, that maybe he's, underestimated from others? Because in my mind, he is a big leader of this team.
I think so. I think he's got, like on the old billboard charts or whatever, he's got the bullet. He's on the way up, and I think he's the talk of one of the people who's talk of the league, the way he's playing, the way he is with the mask. Masked Jaylen is a thing, and rightfully so. I mean, it's been like 35-point games, and his drives to the hoop. He is so much improved over the first 5 years or so, 6 years of his career. It's just been such an improvement, just like JT. So the two of them are, you got the two of them, and then you're probably game planning for that. And then you've got, Smart Brogdon and Derek White, and Pritchard. And then, you're like, okay. And then Al Horford makes like 3 threes from the corner. I mean, it's a good lineup when it's rolling.
Yeah.
Wyc, when you look at, like you said, you've been around this team for so long and just kind of the evolution of basketball. And I know at times we tend to watch this team and we'll get frustrated because of how many threes they'll take. But then when you start to look at the league, I think they're second in the league in made three-pointers. Does it frustrate you at times as an owner and watching the game evolve where it has become so much reliant on the three-pointers?
I hear you, Wiggy, and I'm not going to just paint everything, perfect or whatever. But then with the threes, then you're seeing the guys. I'm seeing a lot more drives to the hoop this year that are like spectacular. And that's, I'm talking about our guys as much as anybody else, but it opens it up. The thing we're just not getting is like the mid-range shots, which is sort of like ho-hum, there's a 12-footer or whatever. I don't know. I kind of like the game. I like the way it is, but I got to roll with it. I'm not dictating it. The game evolves. We changed the rules a few years back to make it more offensive, so that you can't, defenses can't really hand check and bump guys out on the perimeter, and it's turned into the game we have today, and it's I think it's a beautiful game to watch personally.
Yeah, I was going to ask you from an owner perspective. I know obviously you feel the pressure of wanting to win a championship, and that comes from the other teams that you're going to face. Is there any? With the Bruins doing so well, do you feel is there any pressure like locally for you when it comes to that?
Well, I have it's been 20 years, and I we miss a foul shot in the first quarter of any game, including practically a preseason game, and I'm going to be like, oh, geez, So it just hasn't, and so so's Robert, and so's Red Sox, and so are the Bruins, ownership groups. They're that's the way we are in Boston. And the beautiful thing about it is we're personally close, all four of the teams, personally close. I went to Charlie Jacobs' wedding in Switzerland in January, by the way. I mean, we are friends, but we're also fans of one another's teams, and the fans come out and support all four teams in Boston. That's just the way it is. We all know it. So I don't feel more pressure. I walk down the street. I want to be a guy that brought another championship to Boston. We got a chance this year, but I feel pressure from inside more than anything else. I want to do the right thing for the Celtics, for Boston.
I was called an idiot on the show the other day, as I often am.
Oh, you want that to happen again? You got the right guy.
Well, I was talking about Jacoby Myers leaving, and I suggested that maybe the Millionaires tax here in Massachusetts played into that, and then I was proven wrong. But have you heard any, is that a concern for you guys? Any rumblings about that? Do you think that'll affect players that want to come and play in the city?
I had never thought about that, but I have to agree. We definitely compete. Oh, it's a good question. We compete against, Florida and Texas, for players, for sure, for their affections, for their, willingness to be here. And so I guess I don't know. I guess I'm going to say it's not a positive. It's like the climate, the weather. If the guys are adding it up that way, I suppose it's probably a difference. But we're trying to overcome all the things that Boston has. We're a city with, we're in the Northeast. I'm born and raised. So, we all know the pros and cons of Boston weather and everything else. But we'll just take our opportunities when we can get them.
Well, we know one guy who didn't like the weather playing here, Curtis.
Yeah,
Tom Brady.
Yep, Patriots showed him.
Wyc, I know
he had one more Super Bowl after he left. It's kind of like, well, he did have that one though.
Yeah. Big L for Greg, unfortunately, on that.
Wyc, I know you talked about where you guys sit right now behind Milwaukee, and when you have such a talented team at this part of the season, a big topic is load management, and we talk about it a lot on the show. Where do you fall on that? Having guys sit out just to make sure that they're good to go come the playoffs.
Yeah, well, I do my own load management, which I try to get an extra. Try to get like 6 hours of sleep instead of 5. But the guys play hard. Okay, the guys play hard, and especially when you sit and watch them in person, you'll see the energy level and the complete exhaustion that you'll see in the guys. And if you play basketball, you'll try to do 2-3 trips up and down the court at full speed, and I'm like waving to get subbed out. So there's a lot that they put into it. There's a lot that we all get out of it when everybody's playing great. I understand the load management. I don't think it's BS. I think it's real, and we're trying to figure it out at a league level with the players about how we move forward next season, season after, to sort of make everything manageable.
All right. Well, Curtis often says that you're the coolest owner in the city, and so I want to announce something this morning that maybe it'll even make you even cooler. But we have our 10 Years Stronger show with Zach Brown coming up to benefit Boston Marathon bombing survivors, and Zach is the main act, but we're going to add an opening act to the show. And Wyc, the name of that opening act is
French Lick. Glad to be there. Thanks.
So Wyc's band will now be opening that show.
Oh,
Wyc
my
is
God.
Wyc, you're a drummer by trade. Is that correct?
I've been a drummer for a long, long time, since I was really a kid. I switched to guitar 3 years ago, and I'm obsessed with it, and I love it. And it's a good, let off steam. But playing through a Marshall stack, playing a Les Paul or a Telly through a Marshall stack, and actually playing melodies for the first time in my life is a blast.
Would this be the biggest act that you've opened for, French Lick?
I got to tell you, we've closed. We got to close at House of Blues for Lenny Kravitz, and I put him right up there with anybody. But we're really honored to come and try to support the first responders and the victims, and to support on the bill Zach Brown. And I've heard him before. That band is amazing, and we are thrilled. And the rest of my band, in case anybody's worried, the rest of my band they're not pros, except a couple of them had record deals. They're great people. We've been together a long time. We're going to hear some Black Crowes, some Dropkicks, some Tom Petty, some Cheap Trick, some Who. It's going to be a nice little set, I hope.
What is, in your mind, the greatest drum solo of all time?
Oh, Santana's Soul Sacrifice. If anybody hasn't, that'll be my walk-on music if I ever get to pitch for the Red Sox.
Wow. I thought he was going to go with Phil Collins.
Yeah, Phil Collins.
Well, that's a good drum fill, but a drum solo that lasts, a while. I mean, Moby Dick by Bonham is right up there, obviously, but what I just heard the other day and had to hear again and turned it up was Soul Sacrifice. Michael Shreve was a great drummer.
And Wyc, you got a Princeton guy, huge upset yesterday, beating Arizona. How did you watch the game? What was your reaction to that?
Yeah, I caught the game. I was doing something else. We were on set out here filming a sitcom that I created with my my wife and her ex, believe it or not. We sold it to NBC. So we were on stage yesterday with Donald Faison and John Cryer, executive producing a sitcom episode. But anyway, I did catch it on my phone and was pretty thrilled. It was freaking unbelievable.
Yeah. When's the sitcom coming out?
Supposed to be September. We got 12 more. We got 12 more episodes to make out here, so we're. I won't be here for them, but we're here for this particular one, and it's a blast. It's a total blast.
Do you have one of those chairs on set with your name on the back of it?
Well, if we wanted the name, we could have the name. We definitely have a chair, but I just, it's a little probably. I'm not cool, as everybody knows who knows me, but it's a little cooler. I'm told not to have your name on the chair.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
well, he's got Mike O'Malley, who's going to be doing it. He did Survivor's Remorse, which I thought was really good.
That's a good show.
Yeah,
it's a really good show.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a Boston guy. He went to UNH. He gets the whole Boston thing, and the Celtics and are sort of woven into the show somewhat, and it's a little bit off of real life. It's not a documentary, but it's inspired by things that have happened in my life a little bit, and it's really funny to see John Cryer and Donald Faison saying lines that we said to each other in real life around my dinner table.
French Lick, obviously a great name for a band, but a texter is suggesting that Load Management would also be a great name for a band. All right, Wyc.
Pretty good.
It's always great to hear from you.
I can't. Yeah, it's great. We're really looking forward to the show. We'll bring all the energy we can. We're glad to support this unbelievable cause, and we think you guys in the Greg Hill Foundation you rock. So thank you.
And we should keep the faith when it comes to this.
Keep the faith. Let's go. I'll see you at the Garden in April, and we'll see what happens. But we're in the mix. We got a chance, and I think last year we almost got there, and I think the guys are pretty pissed off about it. So hopefully we'll give people a good show in April, May.
All right, Wyc. Great to talk to you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. You're the best.
All right, there is Wyc Grousbeck, the owner of the Boston Celtics.